You know how I know it's racist?
How's that?
Because David laughed.
That
Yeah.
is like, that's a pretty good way to tell.
Yeah, if you laugh, it's like if it's funny, yeah, it's probably racist.
Yeah.
What's good? Welcome back to Agitator, the only freestyle storytelling podcast starring one mystic juggalo weeb
Wah, wah,
more
wah.
mourning over the loss of his friend. I'm gonna have to change the slogan because it just gets depressing to say it now. Now
Just
that
treat him like a ghost.
I'll just I should just put his picture up behind me
Yeah, yeah.
whenever, or I have that cardboard cutout, I guess.
You should have gotten the white tee with the airbrush joint with the angel wing joints.
That's it. Yeah, no, I need me one of those. Going to the boardwalk on Sunday, so
It is.
perfect time. Yeah, I need to go get me one. Give me one made. He's a JDO, s- sleeping with the angels.
Yo, the people at the boardwalk that be making them airbrush t-shirts, they look really unhealthy often.
You think it's all that all that airbrushing,
that's
maybe?
they're looking pretty unhealthy, man. They're not looking their best.
They look
I
like
don't
they're
know if
breathing in
it's
fumes all day.
I don't know if it's the fumes or just a transient lifestyle that's only like makes money during the summer months, but they don't look too well as
It's
they
just
airbrush.
yeah, it's classic carny folk. They just
Yeah,
you just can't tell. They're
really bad
you'll meet
skin.
one and you'll be like, how long you been doing this? And they're like, oh, like 3 years. And you're like, oh, you just started. And they're like, well, I'm only like 17. And you're like, whoa, like I thought you were like 38.
Just like that.
Yeah, it's like you meet one of them and you're like, oh, you think they're gonna say like 20 years? And they're like, yeah, I just got out of college like last year. And you're like, damn,
Damn.
you guys live different out here, huh?
Well, Simmons, you just got a caricature done. How what's inflation done to the
Wow.
boardwalk?
Yo, I'm glad you asked that question. So me, my wife, my daughter, caricature, $55, $10 for the frame, which was basically a piece of cardboard, similar to like what we use to make like signs at book events that
Uh-huh.
say like weird books, the
Mhm.
big black sign. So yeah, but had to get the frame too. You know how that works.
Yep, so it can stay flat on the ride home, so you can ditch the frame and get a better frame when you get back.
Basically. And yeah. So I don't know how much I don't know how much they cost back in the day, but I don't know. Does that seem like a lot or about right?
How long it take him to do it?
In 15 minutes, 20 minutes?
Yeah, that's a lot. Damn,
Yeah,
man,
because that's like lawyer money.
that's like drug dealer money at least.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we were
it's not like good lawyer money, but it's like entry level lawyer money, like 250 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
If he
Mm-hmm.
hitting them all a bunch of those joints.
it's pretty good.
But you know what though? But for real, the motherfucker just drew my family real quick in 15 minutes. That's kind of worth some bread. Then that's gonna sit on our wall for years, even though it looked corny.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean
I really
they're earning.
I like the sneakiness that he put into your eyes. I don't know what inspired that. I don't know what gave him the idea to
He
make.
probably knew I was Jewish. Huh? Is that what you were implying when you
Yeah, yeah, a
put
little
it
bit. He looks
to
a little bit like that meme with the, you
Yeah.
know.
Did you appreciate that I did that for you? That you led me to say that and then I completed?
Yes, that was a
I got
perfect.
you.
That
I
was
got you.
you really alley ooped that one.
I
Yeah,
wouldn't let you down with something like that. I
that's
wouldn't.
friendship, man.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't let you down with that.
That's like one level above finishing each other's sentences. We alley oop each other's jokes
Yeah.
just to really hammer it home.
Especially when they're like mildly offensive or stereotypical.
Yeah, we just want to make it very clear. We don't want to imply anything. We want to make it very clear this is a racist zone.
Yeah, I hate subliminal messaging.
Yeah,
It's
just make it clear. Cards on the
yeah,
table. This is what we
right.
think.
Exactly.
This is how I feel in my heart. Yeah. I was listening I was listening to Call of Duty videos from back in like '09, and that shit had me rolling. It was just like I just threw it on for like some white noise. Just a
Uh-huh.
whole bunch of 9-year-olds like yelling slurs and calling Asian people, telling them to what's up egg roll and shit like that.
Oh my God.
And it was just it it started putting me to sleep. I was like, damn, it just started lulling me into a relaxed state. I was like, okay, I need to save this for later.
I don't know if this is everywhere in the United States or the world or whatever, but where I live, it seems that everybody is always like one argument away from like being completely racist, but then like right before that, they're like, nah. And what I mean by that is like, I could be in a carryout, right? In a Chinese food carryout, right? Getting some food. And like, let's say there's a black lady in line and the person at the register, a Chinese lady, if they it like immediately, if something slightly go wrong, like they give Shorty a Sprite instead of a Coke or something like that, immediately it just goes crazy. I don't know if it's like that where y'all are at, but like it goes crazy so fast. But like right before that, it was so chill.
You
Yeah,
know what
everyone
I
here's nice. We're all nice to each other. Everybody.
Oh golly gee.
Oh, gee whiz.
Gee whiz.
Man, that sounds nice.
It is nice. Everyone's nice.
Up in Fargoville.
Though sometimes it's really annoying because people like when you're driving, people will go out of turn. You know what I mean? It's like it'll be their turn to go at like a four-way stop and they're like waving you on. You're like, oh, let's just like slow things down because everyone knew you were supposed to go. Like just
Oh
go, man.
man, I hate that shit. That's been happening. You know what's really been happening a lot that's got me like paranoid than a motherfucker is people just lingering at stop signs. I'm
Yeah.
like, if you weren't ready to drive, what are you doing on the road? Like you spying
That's
on me?
dangerous.
The
See,
worst thing that's ever happened to me is I was deathly out of gas in like middle of nowhere. Who knows where it was? I guess it wasn't middle of nowhere. It was like a city, but I didn't know where I was, and I had to find a gas station. And so I find the closest gas station, and it's real rundown and shitty, and it's packed full of cars. And I was like, okay, well, I'll just wait 2 minutes for one of these cars to leave, and like 5 of the 6 cars at this gas station, there's people were just sitting in them. Like they weren't pumping gas anymore. They were just sitting there.
what?
I was like, you could sit anywhere. Like, why, why are you sitting right here?
That
Hey,
is junkie behavior. Were they on their
yeah,
phones?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
yeah,
See,
junkie baby.
it's the same as if they were just like shooting up while pumping gas, and now they're just like nodded off than a motherfucker. They're
Yeah,
Because
just
they're not gonna shoot in a parking spot. They're gonna shoot in the get. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Where it look like they doing something.
Mhm.
That's straight junkie behavior for real. Just and also it's junkie behavior because anything where you just how like people just be like, some people say like I should be able to do whatever I want as long as I don't bother anybody else. Like some people have that mentality.
yeah,
Well, a junkie mentality is like the opposite of that. It's like I'm gonna do whatever I want, and I don't even know if I'm bothering anybody else. It doesn't matter anyway. So that's kind of what I think it is. You know, in Baltimore, at when the light turned green, you're supposed to look left and look right and then go. You're not supposed to just go when the light go green like you would in DC or Virginia. And it's because people run red lights. So you want to make sure that nobody T-bones your shit. And I be having my daughter in the back. But yo, they be running red lights all the motherfucking time. So I hit that green light. I tell Juno, I say left, right? Let's go. Let me go.
So the only time I've almost died in a car was when I was in the backseat of a cab in South Korea. And when they pick you up, you know, you're getting a ride at like 5 o'clock in the morning or whatever. And the thing about being really drunk in Korea is that your taxi driver is probably drunker than you are. And we were going like 60, and it had been red for like longer than a few seconds, and he just blew through. And you know, another car slammed on its brakes, like, and the speed limit is not 60 miles an hour, it's like 35. You know?
Mm, mm.
And another car slammed on the brakes, and like and so did my driver, so we were inches from being T-boned, except I was the one who's gonna get boned. I was like
Oh,
I was looking at the driver like in the face, like from 4 feet away. And I was just like, oh man, I'm glad you were going slightly slower. Like,
yeah. Oh man. Imagine having to be in a hospital there.
I was in the hospital there for a week.
Oh, for real? Why?
Yeah, my appendix burst while I was in South Korea,
The
and
fuck? What was
that
that like?
well, it's a whole long story, but I woke up at 6 a.m. and the night before I went out with my friends, but I wasn't feeling great. So I was just like, I'm not gonna really drink, but I'll just like hang out. And at like 1 o'clock in the morning, I got a kebab from the kebab guy that I knew. He just like had a little cart, you know, it wasn't he didn't have like a storefront.
Like a
Basically a
hot dog guy.
he was basically a kebab pirate. Because it was illegal. But I went there, got it, and then
Oh,
yeah, I woke up at 6.
kaboot liquor,
Yeah, I
kaboot
woke up at like
legger.
6 in the morning. And I was like, oh man, I feel like shit. That motherfucker, he poisoned me. I got some bad kebab,
For
and
real?
it just wasn't getting better. So the thing about being in Korea too is I didn't have a phone. I never got a cell phone because it just didn't. It's back then it used to be kind of harder to get a phone in Korea. Maybe it's easy now. I don't know. But I never had a cell phone. And so I had to use my apartment phone to call the only person whose phone number I knew, which was someone else who lived in my building who was an American. And she was like gone. So she called someone that we work with, and that person came and picked me up in a cab. Like they had a cab driver and they picked me up, and we went to one hospital. They were like, "Oh, we can't help you there because it's Sunday." And I was like, "Oh shit! Well, I'm just like fucking dying." So like, don't worry, we'll bring you to this other hospital. And when I got there, my boss, who was also my legal guardian, because I was in Korea and things are weird when you're kind of I don't even know what you call me, foreign employed. Um, but I was there for like
They
four
have to
hours.
give you a daddy because
Yeah,
you're a
basically.
fool.
But I was there for like 4 hours just like hanging out, and she was like rubbing my back because she's an old Korean lady and she's nice. And she's like, "How do you feel?" I was like, "Terrible." Like no one has given me any medication. They haven't like taken me in or anything. They're just like laying on a cot, like in the fetal position. And then after like 4 hours, she's like, "Okay, we're going to another hospital and they're gonna do the surgery there." So I get to the other hospital, and they're doing all this stuff, and they put me on like a Jesus on the cross kind of table.
Well, that was their Sunday table.
Yeah, I don't know why like my arms are extended, but they were. And the whole time, the only person that worked at the hospital staff that spoke English was this guy. And I don't even know if he was a surgeon, but he was just there, and he was talking to me, and he was talking to me like nonstop, asking me all about like he's like, "Oh yeah, so you have a dog?" And I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" And people are like plunging, you know, things into my arms and stuff because they're gonna knock me out so they can cut out my bad boy. Um, and they gave me two options, like we can go through your belly button and won't leave a scar, or we can give you a scar. I was like, okay. And they're like,
Go through the belly button. You can't do that shit. That's a
yeah.
myth.
And they're like, they're like, the difference is that one is twice as expensive. I was like, I'll just do the cheaper one, so I have a scar now. um but yeah, this guy was just babbling at me in English for God knows why. And then I've, you know, pass out, and I wake up and I don't have an appendix anymore, and then I'm going to be in the hospital for 5 days. And the first day, like the next day, I wake up and I'm in a room just like full of old Korean guys who are all like putting on their clothes. I was like, oh, they must all be leaving. Joke's on me, but I'll come back to that. Um, the first nurse who comes in, she's like, pain, you know, she like kind of pantomimes it and like she knows that word in English. And I was like, yeah. She's like, okay. And then she left. And then a different nurse comes back with food for everybody except for me. And then she was like, pain, and I was like, yeah. And then she's like, okay. And then she left too. And then no one gave me pain pills or food all day. But
What?
They were basically like, if you hurting, you ain't gonna be able to handle this food, so
yeah. Um,
we ain't gonna feed you.
and then like the next day, oh,
Ain't
and
got no
like
dope in Korea. They don't give you nothing.
I don't know.
He said he
No.
wanted the cheap shit. They
Well,
were
I
like,
had I had like
Oh,
an
Don't be giving this motherfucker no opium or nothing."
I had an
right.
IV that I think had painkillers in it, but they were just like, does it hurt? And I was like, yeah, and they're like, okay.
Uh,
Like it's supposed to. You just had surgery. I was like, sweet. Like thanks for asking.
I
Um,
respect that you're in a foreign country feeling like your insides are exploding, and when asked at the third hospital you go to while laying on a cross which surgery you prefer, you say,
right.
"Give me the cheap shit."
yeah. And you know what the cost difference was?
$100.
What?
It was $600. So my surgery
Damn.
my surgery in a week in the hospital was $600. It could have been $1,200, and I was like, I don't need $1,200. Like, I don't need your fancy shit. Um, but the strangest thing happened either the second or third day I was there. They had fed me by this point, but I woke up and there was just this middle-aged Korean guy who's like stroking my hair, kind of like this. And
Okay.
I just like woke up and I was like, I just looked at him and he looked down at me and he goes, "My son," and I was like, "Yeah." And I knew what he meant. I think he was like, "Yeah, like my son is I don't know, he's not here." And I was like, "Yeah, cool. I'll be your son for while I'm here." But those guys who left in the morning in the hospital, they just came back at night and they just like got into their hospital scrubs and like laid down again. I was like, Korea's bonkers.
How? What? Well, I don't understand. They go to work and then go back to the hospital.
I have no idea. I mean, no one spoke English. So I was just like staying there
Wait.
watching.
So that you never found out there was no conclusion to that part?
No, it's just like this is something that happens. And then
What the fuck?
on TV was this show, La Femme Nikita, but not like the one
Oh,
from,
oh
but not
yeah.
like the movie from like 1992 or whatever. It was like some. Do you remember Devon Sawa?
Oh
Yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
The
he was apparently in this show that I had never heard of called La Femme Nikita, and he's like in it, and there's this hot girl in it because that's like what the show's about, and it was on for like 56 hours or something. I was just like, how is this? Is this the only show that's in English that's on in Korea?
Well, yeah,
What?
because you see what happened was Japan had this like occupation of Korea, and it left them with a
Devin,
part of the parting agreement was that they only get one show per channel.
Yeah, just one Devon Sawa show at a time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
man.
I was there for a week, and then on Monday I had to go because this happened on Sunday, and so I was there at the hospital until Friday, and then I left, and then on Monday I had to go back to work, and like when I taught students English like little kids, and around 8 o'clock at night I had like an hour left, and I was just like feeling absolutely miserable. I was like sweating, and my boss is like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "No." She's like, "Do you want to go home?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Okay, well, we won't pay you the full amount today, but you can go home." And I was like, "Okay." And then
I like how they make that clear.
yeah, and then I still had to come back the next day because like you I had 10 days off the entire year I worked there, and I could use them for sick days or I could use them for vacation. Jokes on them though, I had already used all my vacation, so uh, they just they just had to, I don't know, deal with it. The fact that I was gone for a week because of surgery.
You've sold me. I think I'm moving to South Korea now.
Yo, I
So it only cost me $600 to get my appendix out. I was talking to someone here a few years after that, and before insurance kicked in, their bill was like $40,000.
yeah,
Yeah.
yo.
And they all they did was get cert, like they were in and out like the same day basically. And I was in Korea for a week. Oh, the funniest thing too is when they left, when they kicked me out, said go away. You can go back to wherever you live. They just gave me a bag of pills.
What? They give you a
Yeah.
What?
bag of pills, let you stay for a week,
Yeah,
and
but like this is the thing. So the bag of pills had like perforated things, so it was like there's like a pouch per day, I guess. I don't know. No one
right,
told me.
yeah, yeah.
But it was like just like one big bag, and each day had like I don't know, like 6 pills or whatever. no one told me what the pills were. I was just like, I guess I was like, do I take these every day? And they're like, yeah. I was like, how many do I take? And they're like, yeah. I was like, okay, I'll just figure it out.
You're like, I hate these Korean bags, like, and just ripped open the whole thing
Yeah. The
and
funny
just
thing,
heroic dose to that shit.
What the
a
fuck?
week after I got out, I had to go back to that hospital to get they had to look at it to make sure I wasn't like, gonna get infected and die. And the weirdest thing was not having no idea what hospital or where that hospital was. Because I was just like brought there in excruciating pain. And then when I left, I just like got in a taxi cab and I was like, take me to my house. And they're like, all right, sweet. And then yeah, like the day before I had to go to the hospital, I was like, wait, who knows where I was? Oh, and that's the other thing, because I didn't have a phone and I went there kind of the way I did. I didn't have my computer with me or anything. So everyone that I knew there just thought I died. Just like because like there was no way to get in touch with me. No one had any idea where I was. But it also meant that I didn't have like a book with me or anything. I was just like in a hospital with nothing to do for 7 or 5 days.
Fucking Devin Sawa.
Yeah, just hanging out with Devin Sawa and getting my hair stroked by an old man.
Hey, oh man, I don't. This is more reason I don't ever want to leave. What the fuck, yo? You never found out what those weird ghost dudes were that like came
No,
in the
but
night? Fuck
think
was
of
that?
think of this. A round trip flight to Korea is probably like maybe 2 grand, and then the surgery is only $600. So it's $2,600 for surgery. Just do it.
Oh shit. You're
Yeah.
right.
If,
Damn.
if if your appendix is bursting, get a last minute flight to Korea, and the second you land, be
They
like, get me to the hospital.
they do vasectomies.
Probably.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
feel
I mean they'll cut your dick off. That's fine.
No, I don't need none of that. But I think a vasectomy only like $900 anyways.
Oh,
So
that's just when they cut your balls off. Yeah, they do that.
they better not chop them bitches off either.
Well,
I'm
you're
gonna
gonna have to
be
explain it to a Korean in Korean, so good luck.
yeah, I'm gonna try my luck in Mexico. I'm gonna just that's a shorter drive.
Yeah. No, I surgery of all kinds of like plastic surgery was really popular in South Korea. I'm sure it's way more popular now, but part of why it was so popular is it was really inexpensive to get like just any kind of facial surgery.
Where'd they get the plastic from?
Oil. It's a byproduct of oil, petroleum.
Well,
this is
that
intense.
they got a bunch of oil refineries over in Korea.
Yeah, everybody does. They're like in backyards and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Just pumping oil out of the ground up everywhere.
I just
What?
didn't really know what they were known for besides neon and like gay clubs and
Video games.
yeah.
Not
Yo,
making them, but playing them. StarCraft.
I also thought they were known for neon.
There is neon everywhere. That's like any city in Asia. It's like you walk down the street and it's kind of cool, especially if you start to learn the language a little bit. So I learned the alphabet really fast because it's really easy to learn. And so I could read all like the neon advertisements. No idea what I was reading, but I could read it. I could like sound it out, like a toddler. And every once in a while you would run across something that is like a loan word. So you'd be like digital. Oh, digital. That's like a they sell something digital there.
Okay.
Uh,
So wait, so what's their alphabet? So each of the kanji is like a letter, or I thought because I thought some of them like combined, like one of them might be a word or
Yeah, that's
multiple.
that's that's Chinese and kanji. Um, so Korea in the 1600s,
They got their
a
own language. What the fuck?
a king of Korea decided to make an alphabet for Korean. And so it's more like ours, um, where there's like a sound has a symbol.
so not characters.
No, but like a word looks more like like a Chinese character because like how to even explain this? There's like a top to the word and a bottom to the word. So it's not like left
Oh,
to right. It's kind of like it looks like a square almost.
like the aliens from Arrival, but a square.
Yeah, kind of.
I got you.
Yeah. Koreans are basically just the aliens from Arrival.
Yeah, you know what? This is now a Korean podcast because that alphabet makes a lot more sense than the
Yeah, I mean,
Japanese shit.
if you watch like Old Boy or whatever, all those characters, that's what all that stuff is.
Their language, that's what that
Hmm.
is.
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know.
yeah.
Thanks for clarifying that.
It's not just arrival hieroglyphics. They read that.
I
That's
thought
what
it
it.
was just cool looking alien symbols.
Yeah, but also when Koreans speak their language, it just like floats out of their mouth like that. Like the
What?
symbols
Like
just kind of come
they
out.
come out in the air?
Yeah,
That's how you were able to learn it so fast.
yeah. I just like I was constantly seeing it. I was just like, oh damn, who's talking
Is
over
it
there?
neon when it comes out? It's in
Yeah,
neon.
yeah. It's neon. But faintly, like you can see through it.
Is
I've
it a
never.
solid or like a gas?
It's kind of like a gaseous state, I would say. But yeah, it's funny when you see the slur that they're calling you, like in neon cloud, kind of coming towards you.
Damn. Oh man,
My
I would
God,
be.
Kelby.
I just imagine, you know what I imagined. I just imagined it coming out like, but in American, you know.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, I had students call me a slur sometimes because they didn't think I knew what it meant. And I was like, I heard that.
What was it? What's the slur?
uh I can't remember now. I mean, it didn't start as like a slur because it basically just means like foreigner. But there's like a nice way to say foreigner, and then there's a mean way to say foreigner. And sometimes they'd say the mean way.
Mm.
I can't remember what it is anymore. But I knew it. It's funny when you start hearing people talk about you a lot, you kind of like get like super hearing for when they're talking about you. Because I was like the only white person in my neighborhood. And like one of my students, I was the first white person he ever saw. And when I'd be walking down the street in the town that I lived in, like sometimes like kids would stop and just like stare at like they wouldn't just stare at me, they would point at me. They're like, "Ugh!" I was like, yeah, man, I just live here.
So they didn't worship you like a god. They were like repulsed by you.
Yeah, they're terrified. I was like the devil. White devil. That's what they called me.
Damn, that's the mean way of saying foreigner.
Born.
No, I would have preferred had they called me white devil. I'd have been like, hell yeah. I'm the king of this place, the white devil. Also, as a foreigner in Korea, if you can speak any amount of Korean, even just saying hello, they're like, whoa, way to go. We're proud of you, man. But I had a friend who was Korean, but he was born in America. And so he'd speak to them in Korean. And every single person that he spoke to, instead of responding to him, would correct his Korean.
Damn.
Like he'd speak Korean, they'd be like, you said that wrong. And he's like, no, I didn't. And then and then I would just literally say hello, and they'd be like, whoa.
Korea sounds cool how they set the bar low for Americans.
Oh
I
yeah.
like that. The mysteriousness at the hospital, I'm not a fan of that.
You can't have one without the other.
Apparently, yeah.
Feel like it'd be a fun place to get up to some investigating.
Yeah, you'd have to, but you would leave not believing in anything. I already from this story.
Well, so Koreans are funny because like it's like a pretty scientific and like math oriented place. You know, that's like what they do. That's their industry and stuff like that. And but all Koreans, no matter the level of education, believe in Korean fan death. You can look it up. And they believe that if you are in a room with if you go to sleep in a room with the windows closed and a fan on, you will die. Because the fan pushes all the air away from your mouth so you can't breathe.
So with the
I,
windows down,
Yes.
okay. Oh, so you're breathing and it's pushing it
Yeah, like you
up.
can't get the air. But if the windows are open and the fan's on, everything's fine.
Then
And
there's
like
flow, I guess.
yeah, and like you
And they're
could
known for their science now.
yeah, you could be like a PhD. You could be talking to like a really highly educated Korean person and be like, "Oh no, that's true." Like it's absolutely not true.
They're
Like
also all Christian.
There are a lot of Christians, and I think the biggest mega church in the world is there. I had a what do you call them? A Mormon knock on my door. There were two Korean ladies when I opened the door, like because someone just knocked on my. No one ever knocked on my door. I had been there for like a month. I was like, oh, someone knows I'm here. So I opened the door, and these two Korean ladies are just staring at me, and they are as shocked to see me as I am to see them because I don't know them. Uh, and they're like, oh man, what do we say to this like obviously non-Korean person?
Joseph Smith?
Yeah. So they handed me a pamphlet in Korean, and I was just like, okay. And then they left. And I asked someone about it later, and they're like, "Oh, those are Mormons. They yeah, there's tons of Mormons in Korea," which is crazy to me.
Yes, it is. That it got all the way over there.
Yeah, because like part of Mormonism is that the United States is like the promised land, the Holy Land.
Right.
Yeah.
Go Eden.
Yeah, so it's like, why would Koreans? I don't know.
Well, why
Yes.
would any of us be like
Oh,
Jewish or Muslim?
Well, we're not. No one is.
Well,
Those are
I'm
made
not,
up.
but
Those are
right.
made up. No one is Jewish or Muslim. I've never heard of either of those. You just like literally made that up right now.
Yeah, but like hypothetically, if there was like some kind of religion based on some Middle Eastern places.
I
man,
don't know.
if
It
there
sounds like
was,
they just yeah, it sounds like they would just go to war.
and if they did, it would be over trying to figure out why the fuck them dudes came back to the hospital at night. What the fuck is that about?
I wonder if the hospital is so cheap, if that's like something you can, if you homeless,
Yeah.
you can go out and work and shit, and then
Stay at the
come
hospital?
come back to the hospital and be like, "Oh, my tummy hurts. Let me
I do
just."
have a feeling that actually it's like Korean what would you call it? Not work ethic, but like work work necessity. Like you have to be at work. Like the longer you're at work, the better it is for your career, regardless of if you're doing anything there. Um, so it's like you need to be at work. And so it's like, oh, but dude, like I'm dying. They're like, well, you can stay at the hospital, they'll watch you, but like, you still gotta show up tomorrow. They're like, okay, well, I'll just check out of the hospital and check back in after my shift.
Oh, that's not even funny
Because
anymore.
it was like they were gone from 9 to 5. Like
Oh,
it's just like what the hell's going on?
oh, that's fucked up.
Yeah, Korea's a cool place.
They
Yeah.
doing
Oh
they
no.
doing capitalism in a really boring bureaucratic kind of way. Like you just
Yeah.
gotta be here. It's like, nah, get your work done. Like, I don't care. You can be in the hospital all month and then show up and you better make me everything I want by the end of the day.
Yeah.
Damn.
Funny thing about Korea is all the cars there are Korean. And if you see a car that's not Korean, it's because that person is insanely rich. Because the tariffs they put on foreign cars is like astronomical. So if you see someone with like, I don't know, a Bentley or something like that, it's like that's like the richest guy in the world.
Damn.
Um, but yeah, everyone has a nice car though because Korean cars are nice enough and they they do ton like every single car in Korea is like Korean made car.
They got those short little trucks, right?
Yeah, I love those things. They're so cool. I always
Those
wanted to ride in one.
those joints look crazy because you
Yeah,
just like you gotta crouch to step into the truck.
yeah, and the truck is like, it's like 6 feet long. It's like it seems like pretend.
It's like a
Um,
skateboard.
yeah, they also eat dogs there. I lived by a dog farm, I found out.
Oh, come on now. Come
Yeah.
on now. He just
Uh
said the quiet part out loud. Like,
Come on,
well, I
bro.
didn't I didn't realize it was a dog farm at first. I was just like, why are there all these like
Bro, I
insane
got
dogs
two
here?
books coming out. They're not gonna put them out now because you said that. Even though it's true, you not. That's one of the things you're not supposed to say. I think.
No,
Right.
I mean, you have to go to specialty places to eat the dog, but it's like, yeah, this is where if you want to eat dog, you got to go to this like dog restaurant.
All right. This is the one thing I want to know, bro. Did you
Yeah.
do it?
Did I do it? No, I couldn't.
oh,
Okay.
come on. Come on.
I'll eat a lot of stuff, but I'm not gonna eat a dog. You some kind of like fucking maniac.
I dive headfirst into like, the culture that I'm in. I just want to embrace it, you know. Whenever I feel like that's like a true sojourn, you gotta be willing to commit your soul to the
I don't know.
place.
I don't
Thing
know if
is,
I could do it. I
looking
don't know.
back now, I do kind of wish that I had tried it, but I don't know. I feel like
Like if
most
I was
career
in Cambodia, I would have to shoot an AK-47 at a human being
yeah,
just because
just for fun.
you got to
Um,
embrace the culture.
so that's something that I really regret when I was in Slovakia or Slovenia. Is I had the opportunity to shoot a bunch of like machine guns, or I could do something else, and I don't even remember what the something else was that I did, but I did that. I think because hot girls were doing it. Um, but I really wish that I had like shot the insane guns because we were there and like the person who was kind of like leading us around was like, do you guys want to ride a tank tomorrow?" We're like, "Well, yeah, sure." So we went to like the middle of nowhere where like this guy who spoke no English, who's just like some freaking guy, owned this Soviet era tank, and he just drove us around for like an hour, like up these like I don't know. He has like a little what do you call it? Like raceway? I don't know, a track. It was awesome. And every once in a while he'd like look back and giggling at us with like without teeth. Guy was the best. It's just like it's just the weirdest situation in the world because like they bring us to the middle of nowhere and they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna get in. You're gonna get in this tank with this guy." And you're like, "Okay." And then yeah, the next thing they're like, "Yeah, now we're gonna go shoot guns with him, or you can do this other thing." And I was like, "I'm gonna do the other thing because that's where the hot girls went." And then like the next day, I was like, "Man, should have shot guns with that crazy guy."
Right,
And
because they you was gonna shoot guns that you can never shoot in America.
yeah, I mean, it was like all this like Soviet shit from the '80s because like when the Soviet Union fell, it wasn't like oh here let's like figure out like how we're gonna handle this the dissolution of the government. It's just like all right, free for all. Like dude, there's a tank over here. It's like all right, we'll just use it. I don't know, it's yours now. Like,
Damn, that'd be so tight to lose a war now, actually,
Right.
because then
well
you just get to reap the what is it the war the
Spoiled.
spoils of war.
yeah,
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 the problem with America losing a war is like all of our stuff is elsewhere.
that's why they got to bring it here.
Bring the war home.
Bring it
We need
home.
another civil war so that I can ride a tank in middle of Texas.
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
You could drive a tank from you could just follow the Gulf Coast all the way to Florida.
that's yeah,
yeah.
you absolutely
That's a
could.
dream.
If you have a war, like stuff gets blown up and shit, and then you get to scavenge and
Yeah.
shit. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
like that.
This is
I would
this is
enjoy
Goon
that.
City. This is down to Goon Town.
Yeah, yeah, I would enjoy that a lot.
That'd be fun. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
that's
sounds
kind of
good.
sort of the history of parts of the South are like that, like East Tennessee, where my wife is from, Chelsea. Basically, like the North, uh, or no, whichever one came through first. Whoever came through first, like destroyed everything, and then like a few years later, before the end of the war, the other side came through and destroyed everything again. And so like nothing in East Tennessee is older than like 1880.
Damn.
It's just like it's like oh yeah, that was destroyed by the Union. That building over there, or like what used to be there, was destroyed by the Confederates. And it's like everything's just fucked up here.
I wonder if the South is so much more into guns than the North because we lost. And so we're like, oh, hey, what's all these guns? This is mine. I'm gonna take this.
Yeah,
Uh,
basically, it probably is why.
Well, in that case, I'm glad. Losing wars is the way. That's how
Yeah,
you get.
losing wars is way cooler.
war.
Do what?
I said I want to lose a war. I
Yeah.
don't. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the only war I get to wage, the only war any of us get to wage is the war of public relations. Have you seen the literary world on the World Wide Web? They are so annoying. Like,
Man,
this guy made me sad. I'm gonna everyone gang up on this like loser online.
man, look, like, man, like this the thing, right? Like every time, like every week, somebody in the writing community get called out, caught, and canceled for some fuck shit every single week. And the thing is, it's so lame all the time. And And here, and for anyone who's gonna listen to this, what I mean by that is it's lame because no one's dying or getting killed. No one's catching a really bad beating or losing a family member over any of the drama. But at the same time, it's also lame because the stuff they're doing is like heinous in like a Revenge of the Nerds kind of
Yeah.
way. Like I don't know how to explain it. Like
Well, I think the way to think of it is it's like the lowest stakes shit ever that is treated like the highest stakes shit ever.
right, right,
Like
right.
he sent me a mean text. It's like, whoa, let's kill him.
But then on the other side of things, when they expose the text and the screenshots, and you see what these dudes are sending people and doing, you're like, oh my God, these fucking nerds. Like these
Yes. Yeah.
losers. Like if
Yeah.
my wife, if my wife went through my phone and saw any of the shit that weird horror writer Otis Bateman or whatever the name was, that
Otis Bateman. I hope that's
yeah,
his real name.
I don't know, that the person who wrote no, and I because I don't do no subliminal shit. It was this shit by a book called No One Rides for Free, and dude got his whole book unpublished and canceled and all that shit, and because he was doing all kinds of dumb text shit, sending pics of women's titty pics that they were sending him to other writers, like just scumbag stuff, yo. And if my wife found me going, if Jada found me, I would be so fucking embarrassed after she beat my ass and I woke up from the coma. You feel? Like, oh my God, like what the fuck? Like these dudes have no shame. And
Yeah.
then the people who dogpile them for clout have no shame either.
Yeah. What
They
uh what I miss is the real kind of literary fights, like David, your favorite writer, Roberto Bolaños. He was
Mhm.
famous for just yelling at people. Like they'd be doing a reading and he would just yell at them.
I would beat the shit out of him for real if
Yeah,
he
but
was me.
but think of how funny that is. Like
No,
imagine you're at like a poetry reading and it's just terrible because it's a poetry reading. And instead of just being like, "Oh yeah, that was really good," you just start booing.
Yeah. That'd
that's
be
gangster. I wish
Yeah.
people did shit like that. Like, but if you go back even further, like writers killed each other, or at least tried to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like,
One of them on
and
national TV.
and like it's
who was
crazy.
that?
Norman Mailer tried to like he didn't he tried to beat the shit out of Gore Vidal basically while they were on a talk show.
Damn.
And whole time, Gore Vidal is a straight up bitch. Cause I looked it up on Wikipedia what Eddie's talking about, right? And do you know what it say? And I committed this to memory because I don't never want to be like Gore Vidal when I become a bestseller. Because it said that after he got laid the fuck out, you ready for this, everybody? He cleverly quipped, bro, if you get knocked the fuck out and all you do is cleverly quip back, did you do it from the floor? Like,
Yeah.
what the
You
fuck?
He was
Like,
he
you,
was still mic'd.
you need to get knocked the
you
fuck out again.
you on the ground like this and you're like, ha ha, that's why you hurt your hand when you hit me, ha ha. Like, what? Like,
So I think there is something that it's like because it was like on TV. There's something about pulling the audience onto your side immediately. And that's kind of what these people when they're trying to cancel, it's always like a weird horror writer that you've never heard of who has like, it's just like it's like, yeah, this guy, Butch Cassidy, you've never heard of him, but let me tell you about why he's the worst person you've ever met. And it's like, I don't care.
And then everybody, oh yeah, I've always had a bad feeling about that guy. It's like
Yeah,
you
Gabino's like, well,
just
let me tell
heard
you, I've been
about this
hearing
guy.
stuff for a long time. It's like, well, why didn't you say something?
but the part that's really weird about it, and the part that's really weird about it, and I know there's some exceptions, right? Like like Brian Keene or Grant, people who write extreme horror who are good people. You feel me? As far as people that I fuck with. But other than they're the exceptions, like yo, like these people write books about endless rape and violence towards women, and then y'all like surprised when they like share titty pics of women. Like they hate women. It
Yeah.
seems like they hate women. Like I've seen them read. They don't seem to like women the way they talk about women.
And
Yeah.
then on the flip side, it's also like really lame and almost worse to see the others being like, y'all are giving us a bad look. We're actually really nice people. It's like, shut the fuck up. I don't want to know. I don't want to
Right,
know that you nice people.
because I'd rather think that Brian Keene is a serial killer who live in Pennsylvania in the woods than him have to say that he's a good dude to make up for the fact that there's Otis Bateman sending titty pics to other authors. You feel me? Because like for real, that Keene has books that I really like, and I like my authors to be more mysterious. You know what I'm saying? But
Uh-huh.
people in this community have to jump out there and be like, hey, I'm a good guy. I'll make sure that you don't get raped or assaulted at AuthorCon or StokerCon because I'm a good guy. And they have to do that shit because you got fuck shit like Otis Bateman and shit like that. You feel me? So, so you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'd rather none of that exist. I think we all would. Like write your books, put your shit out there, deal like interact with your fans, show love to your community, and get a bag. Like
Yeah.
it ain't that hard.
I think it leaned a lot more that way for a couple of reasons. One, a lot of people, especially in the horror scene, for some reason, they don't seem to be in it for love of writing, money, or clout. They're in it because they like that bureaucracy. They're like office characters.
Yeah.
And the other thing is the algorithm fucked up sharing actual content so much that you have to we've had to we've evolved in this way to get noticed with the original intention being to draw people to the work,
Yeah.
and then it just became this big thing of like, notice me, notice me, notice me, which is
Yeah. Well,
not what I
you
want
know, like,
either.
you know, those Instagram accounts that just basically reshare screen grabs of tweets.
Mm-hmm.
Some
Right, yeah, yeah.
sometimes I'll see a tweet from like a writer who's like kind of getting, they're not like a big writer, but they have a big following on Twitter. Like no one reads her books, but I'll see screen grabs of her tweets. I'm just like, oh man, that's like so embarrassing, especially because like you'll see how she posts and she's like, oh, I hate it here on Twitter, and it's like, then just leave. But she can't because she's an addict. She needs to have these like 50,000 people, loving her like little quips that she makes.
I think I think it's what both of y'all said, and I think that it's almost like with these a lot of these writers. Yo, did y'all ever like when y'all was in school ever like go away on a trip that was like for a weekend with your class and everybody got to go except for the bad kids who had to stay in at home? You know what I'm talking about? With like
Yeah.
Yeah,
yo,
yeah.
we went to DC, you know what I'm saying? So like whatever y'all's was where you go away for the weekend, like, and you know how on those trips everybody like click up with each other, you know what I mean? And like a lot can happen during that weekend where like,
Hmm.
dynamics of people becoming popular, becoming not popular. I feel like all these motherfuckers were like very unpopular in that sort of situation. And
Oh,
like
for sure.
this now is their opportunity to do that again.
Yeah.
You,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And because of that, they do tons of things that you used to see people do back in the day. Kids like snitch on people to get other people in trouble and share titty pics, like
Yeah,
things.
share titty pics is very 11-year-old behavior.
It's very childish. It's so childish. And then when somebody does something like that to dogpile them the way they do, like, yo, for real, if one of y'all was out there sharing titty pics, which neither of y'all will ever do, I would take y'all aside and be like, bro, what the fuck you doing? You got a wife? This is lame. You feel me? Like you
Yeah.
feel me? Like
Also, like
it's weird.
if we're all married, and like the idea of me like trying to get titty pics from some like gross reader,
Oh,
like and no I don't know. I think it's probably the assumption that I'm making is that these are not the best looking women, probably. And women of low character, I would say. And I, I
uh,
just I just don't need those. Like if someone sent me to those, I'd just be like, ugh, like send it back. Don't show me that.
Send it back. Take it back.
Yeah,
Return to sender.
I did not ask for this. You are not who I was looking for. Have you seen my wife? Have you seen you? That's like the thing that drives me crazy is you'll see these men like they'll have good looking wives and then they'll cheat on their wife with like just well, yeah, ooh, oh boy.
I think that's because they hate themselves, not because like they hate their wife or because they think their wife isn't hot. I think it's because they hate themselves. Because like then you
Well, I
just
hate them.
you feel me? So you get it.
Yeah,
You
I
hate
hate
them,
them too.
and they got to spend a lot of time with themselves. So you know they. But it's like when you need this, that, and the other from all these different people, it's because like you ain't, I don't know. I think it's because you hate yourself a little bit.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
I wouldn't know nothing about that. I love myself.
me too.
Yeah, bro. I love myself and I love writing too. You feel me? I'm not out here to hurt fans and share their titty pics, accept titty pics, anything like that. I'm here to write books, man, and make people happy with that. These dudes are weird, man. That's why they write these books about what they write about.
Yeah. Well, Kelby saw me at a convention. It's like Brian Evanson was at our table, just like didn't even notice. It's like this the same person.
Eddie,
Well,
Eddie is all about Eddie
yeah, it's
and
like
Eddie's books.
I'm just there to sell books. I'm not there to like be your friend and hang out. And so like the same person will walk by like 10 times and I'll yell at them every single time to stop by. And they're like, I already bought your books. I'm like, okay. Like, I don't care.
Yeah, thanks.
Like,
Buy them again or get
yeah,
out.
do you want some more? Like,
Right. It's about getting it out there. That's all.
yeah, you know, like I was at the Twin City Book Convention. This is a funny interaction to me because this girl came and she didn't buy Howl, but she brought Broken Katana and the other one. I don't know
Iron
what's
Wolf.
the other Iron Wolf. I know what books I write. Um, but she's like, oh, I bought the first one last year, so I'll just buy these two. And I was like, oh, really? You probably bought them from me. And she's like, I don't think so. And I was like, well, I know that you if you bought them here, you bought them from me. But
Yo,
I just
that's
let her be like, oh,
hilarious whenever
yeah,
Yeah,
people are obviously lying because you
yo,
know how things came out. Like when people come to me and they're like, oh yeah, I have hurricane season. I'm like, no, you don't. That was a limited hand sold edition. That I know everybody who bought that.
well,
really?
this person was telling the truth because like they they wanted to buy the sequels to Howl. They're like, oh, I didn't know there were sequels. I'm gonna buy these two. And I was like, oh, you must have bought Howl from me last year. And she's like, I don't think it was you. I was like,
But people are argumentative like that. You know what I
yeah.
mean? They just
And yeah, it's like I didn't even I never tell people that I'm the person who wrote the books unless they like really specifically ask. But I just thought that
for
was
real.
funny. Yeah, I was just who cares?
When you sell your books, you don't say I'm the author of these books.
No.
I do now because I noticed that it sells.
Yeah,
Like
Okay.
they get
so
excited. They're like, "Oh shit, you wrote this? I
Yeah.
thought you were just some intern doing this on the weekend for no reason. Like, why? No, why would I do that? The fuck?"
yeah. So I think I have my pitch so down for like because I'm selling like 15 different books because that's how many books we have on the table. And I'm just like I lay out the pitch in like 30 seconds, got it all down. And so sometimes people will be like, they think that I'm like the publisher. They're like, oh man, what's your favorite one? And I can tell them and stuff like that. But every once
Yeah.
in a while, people will be like, did you write any of these? I'm like, yeah, I wrote these like, 7. And then usually they'll buy those. But if they don't ask, I don't tell them because they're going to buy a book anyway. And I don't care if it's mine or your guys's.
I
That's
always
true.
what caught your eye, and like 70, 80% of the time, it's Kelby's joint where it say Walmart Noir. And
Yeah.
that was either in front of letting out the devils, or now I put it in front of God is wearing black, right? So they usually walk over to that. Then I explain to them what that is. Then they say to me, they say, did you write any of these books? And I go, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I explain what we do, that we're a collective. It's kind of that. But I did take from you the whole, you know, you like weird books, just yelling at them across the joint. I took that if
Yeah,
they don't over.
it works, man. The funny thing about Kelby's books, and I don't know, I just don't understand. So many people come to the table because they see Mercy, the cover, and they're like, "Oh man, this book looks awesome." I'm like, "It is," and then I'll pitch it, and then I'll pitch like the rest of the books,
Uh-huh.
and most people then don't buy Mercy. I'm just like, "The hell, man." That one's I said that one's like really good. Like, and I mean,
and it's
it's the
what
most.
and it's what drew him to the table. I think that's a psychological thing of
Yeah,
there's like the intro and then like so when you get into a movie, if it has a great beginning, you don't want to rewind back to the beginning. You want to get to you want to see a good end. And so if you pitch another good book to them, then that next thing that you pitch is more like, oh, well, what's this over here then? Okay, that sounds cool.
Yeah. There must be a lot of people in Minnesota who have some affiliation with Baltimore because everyone who sees Ghosts of East and West Baltimore, they're like, "Oh, Baltimore." And I have so many people come to the table because of Baltimore. And they're like, "Yeah, I used to live in Baltimore. I like went to school in Baltimore, or like whatever." I'm just like, "All right, why is everyone from Baltimore here?" But I'm glad they're all buying books.
that's pretty cool.
That happened in Austin a lot. A lot of people were like, "Oh, I'm from Baltimore." I'm like, "Well, shame on you for leaving. The person who wrote this loves it so much that he don't ever even want to go on vacation."
Yeah,
I
So
don't.
and maybe
And
that's part of it is
Korea,
like,
let me tell you that. Never to Korea. Oh boy.
you can't wait to go to Korea. You could be old boy over there. Beat a bunch of
Man,
dudes up with a hammer.
you want to know something that y'all gonna get on me for even worse than that George Romero thing?
you ain't
It's
seen Old Boy, huh?
y'all. No, no, no. Look, right? So I've seen the old boy Spike Lee version, the remake with
Hell
with
yeah.
with
Josh
Josh
Brolin.
Brolin. Yeah, yeah. And then everybody told me like, what? You know, you need to see the original. It's like one of the best. And I started watching it and I was like, nah.
God
So
damn.
that's my experience with that movie. I really like the one with Samuel L. Jackson and Josh Brolin.
That's funny. The
Yeah.
first time I watched, so Old Boy is kind of part of a trilogy, and the first time I watched the whole trilogy, I was like, why does everyone love Old Boy so much? I feel like Old Boy is not the best one. But
Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance goes real hard.
yeah, so does Lady Vengeance.
Lady Vengeance.
Lady
Yeah.
Vengeance is bonkers. But then I watched Old Boy again. I think I don't know, a few years ago. And I was like, man, Old Boy is really good. I get it. I get why people are
Right.
saying that.
I'm more mature now since I met y'all as far as my artistic taste of the movies and things that I and books I like. So maybe I'll give it another try.
Yeah.
This actually goes, I've had this question with everybody like checking out the extreme horror and extreme horror being such an embarrassing like genre from the writers to the writing, just
Yeah.
atrocious writing. I have wondered like, is it possible to write good extreme horror? But Old Boy is a good example of okay, you can do extreme taboo shit and make a good story out of it too, because I don't know if I've seen a more taboo type of like he's fucking his daughter
Yeah.
and then in the
Yeah.
end decides to keep doing that and it's kind of a love story and you're kind of on his side too. You're like, wait, what the this is really messed up.
It's bleak as shit, man. But I think like, well, so this is the other thing too, is I bet if you met Park Chan-wook, you'd be like, dude, this guy is fucking weird as hell. I do not want to be in a room with this guy. you know? Like, and so I think that's like the thing. The world was so much better when we didn't know so much about people. Like, um, there are writers who, when they got on Twitter, whenever ago, and I used to be on Twitter whenever ago, and I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna follow this person. It'll be like I'll get to keep up on what they're doing. And then you find out that like this author you respected tweets like 50 times a day, and you're just like, God damn, what a
You
fucking
find out
loser.
that Jeff Vandermeer will yell at you for raking your yard or will like block you for responding
Yeah,
to something,
what a
which is
pathetic loser.
it's like what
You
people do on the
know
internet. They
who
respond to
I
shit.
you know who I on Twitter who I like because all he do is like get angry at people and defend Baltimore. David Simon, who wrote The Wire.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Cool.
David Simon
He's cool
is
on
cool.
Twitter. He's cool. You know who's the coolest on Twitter? Chuck Palahniuk, because he don't say shit. All his shit is promo that you know somebody else doing. That's
Yeah.
the most gangster of them all. What? He don't say shit, and he got more followers than everybody.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, that's I don't know. I think there's something I don't think that it's a bad thing to have too much of yourself on the internet, but I think Twitter and like Facebook and stuff like that, they just bring out like the worst kind of version of people. Like there's a lot of writers who have written a lot of stuff, like not just books, but like essays and magazines and stuff like that. Like Hunter S. Thompson, we know a lot about Hunter S. Thompson because he couldn't stop telling us. But at least we the only things that we got from him were things that like he was like, okay, this is something I worked on and it's finished. It's not just like the errant thought that dripped through his brain.
Mm.
Oh, right.
And so
I
that's
get
kind of what I think it's like, I was talking to someone I know in real life the other day, because this brewery has like a Hot Wheels races. Greatest idea ever. Kids love it. Unless they lose, and they all lose because it's not based on anything. It's just like you just picked the wrong car. But he was like, man, you write so much stuff. And I was like, I guess I do. But like, I think I like what I have with my Substack because it's like, this is stuff that I'm telling you on purpose. Like, it's not just things that I whip out my ass at like midnight because I'm bored.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
no.
yeah. No, it's I mean, everything I do is carefully planned and structured when I
Yeah.
write my shit, like refrains, callbacks. I write it like a song, like I repeat certain stuff that on purpose. So yeah, it's not like what I post on Twitter is just what I be thinking when I'm in traffic or shit like that.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah. It's like shower thoughts.
Yeah, and I try not to do too much of it because of that same reason. I don't want people reading my shit be like, I know him too much.
Yeah.
Million.
It's too much.
Yeah,
Mm.
I've been trying to go back and delete shit already. After just hopping back on Twitter, I'm like, this is too much. No, no.
Oh, that's smart. You go back and clean up.
Yeah, just because,
That's smart.
and also because like I'm a I'm an Aries rising, and I definitely feel that in my interaction with the general public, the impression I give people is that I'm antagonistic, and I'm really not. And me saying that too, they're gonna be like, "Psh, yeah, okay, like, but I swear to God,
You've not been antagonistic at all since you've been on social media that I've seen personally. I know you have a historical record for being antagonistic, allegedly, they say.
it's
But
Some may
see,
say.
I'll bite
I
back so it doesn't help my case that I will engage absolutely, but I don't feel like I ever started the shit.
but I haven't even seen you going back and forth with nobody in nah, not like 2 years, it seemed like. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't think so. I don't think so. Don't nobody be coming at Broken River about nothing. The only people I be arguing with is like Kim Klacik, that woman who like be running against the mayor. That you feel me? The straight chick. But
uh, I
well, I'm
think
saying
the
you don't have that problem.
I think the only kind of online activity that I enjoy is like the absolute pettiest kind. So it's like that, like just dogging the most random person and just like every time they post, just hating them. Like vociferously. It's like I love that. That's like the funniest thing in the world to me. Um, I don't like I don't want people to congratulate me on stuff. Like it's like I don't even know you. Like you don't have to tell me things like that. I just want to watch you like pick a fight with some random person and just never give up. That's why the block button shouldn't exist.
I like I like when people get hurt on videos on Twitter.
That's fun. Yeah, that's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Skateboarding ain't getting old to me.
I'm
I just
about to hold on. I'm about to switch where my phone is so I can plug that joint up because this joint about to die.
oh shit. So
No,
we got to get into I've been trying to bring it back to the whole storytelling format. This show is known for being a lot of different things. We can go 50 episodes not talking about a single movie and people still think we're an anime podcast. There's people say we're a storytelling podcast. Some people think we interview authors, which has been so rare in this show's history that's insane that they think that's what this is. But that's funny. Whatever gets them to sign up at patreon.com/agitator for $5 a month. Uh, but in honor of our fallen brother, we got to figure out how to, JDO, he always had so many ideas, was always spinning, uh, what is it, the yarn? What is it that Rumpelstiltskin? It's hair. We was spinning the hair, whatever he was spinning, weaving
Sure.
into the gold. He took Rapunzel's hair. That's what it was. Yeah, he was spinning that hair into the golden strings. Uh, he was always spinning something, and he left so much on the table when he died that I feel like it's only right that those closest to him kind of try and piece some of that shit together into his posthumous magnum opus. So I feel like the three of us, because Grant is off doing
Night Country.
night, yeah, he's off in night country. I feel like it's
In Night Country is like that's the operative part of that.
let's hope so.
I,
So it's up to the three of us to come up with a good solid outline to then present to Grant to do all the legwork of what this last breath of JDO's is going to look like.
So I think you do it like Ulysses.
mm,
24 hours. And you start with a humble seller of fences, going about his day, talking with his son, hanging out with his wife.
His
We can
adopted son, because he's homosexual.
yeah, yeah, ain't bad. All right, that ain't bad.
And then halfway through, after a lot of bumbling, risen and razzmatazz, all kinds of stuff, just hanging out, selling
He's got
stuff.
to be dodging he's got to be dodging tornadoes.
Oh yeah, then the tornado comes in the middle, and he's gotta watch out. And then out of the tornado's just like shooting out zombies.
What if he's like creating tornadoes? Like, okay, so he finds out, right, because he's got this Indian neighbor who knows a lot about like tornadoes and Indian shit, who tells him that this ain't this ain't racist. This is a Oklahoma thing. This is an Oklahoma novel. And so he tells him about how throwing a tomahawk in the ground can like divert a tornado. It can split a tornado. You'll be safe as long as you throw the tomahawk in the ground. Right. Well, David takes that. I mean, our homosexual fence seller character, um, takes, let's call him James.
Yeah,
J- James takes that and reverse builds it into his own method of creating tornadoes, of calling tornadoes. So like if you spin a tomahawk in the air while driving your Chevy Trax around, it calls the tornadoes to you. And he goes around calling tornadoes to these different places so that he can then come back and sell fences after the damage is
He
done.
fucked their fences up.
Yeah.
That's a good
Okay,
idea.
I got a question because so Eddie said like Ulysses, right? So we gonna treat like Lawton like Dublin, or
Yeah.
like and so it's gonna take place in a day, right? So then it's gonna have happened after he already fucked up a bunch of people's shit the previous week, and now's the day where he's going to give them quotes, and what it flashed back to
Well, so
when.
I think it's like a way to think of it is, you know, a serial killer story, but you don't find out who the serial killer is until like, you know,
uh,
the last quarter.
Oh.
So it's like
wow.
he's like, man, I see your fence is like all fucked up. And they're
I
like,
mean,
weren't you here last week? He's like, yeah. Like,
I mean,
Weren't
so
you
like
just driving around waving a hatchet in the air?
yeah, so you get like
oh,
these kind of like incidental details throughout, you know, the first 3 quarters of it. And at the end, you see him just like summon a tornado, send it out.
bro, that's some Brian Everson twist shit you gonna do. Dick, bro. Okay, right. So we don't know whole time that it's been him calling the tornadoes, fucking they shit up. But we get little hints about him doing fuck shit.
Yeah.
And yeah.
That's how you
There's a
can.
rival fence company.
Does he call a tornado to their place?
No, that's ungentlemanly. So they just hate each other.
Oh.
They're the palliative society of fences.
Yeah.
Mm, right.
That's how you can like bury the suspension of disbelief too, because like his method for summoning the tornadoes, you don't even know until the end. You just start to get the feeling, or you start to suspect near the last third that he's responsible somehow,
Yeah.
and it's been
And
slow building up to that.
the way he does it, he has to jack off.
All right.
Out of his dick comes a tornado. Just shoots it out.
Let's dial it back.
So
Dial it
he he comes or tornado. And so like, you know, you're sitting there in your house and your wife is like, who's that guy out there? And it's like, what guy? I don't see anybody. And it's like, no, like way off in the distance. And just like standing there like furiously like jacking off.
So there's got to be a little thing there. We got to like plant the joke early on where they're talking about some other kind of occult rituals and shit that have to do with like jacking off.
Yeah.
And then somebody got to be like, what is it with I feel like all these occult motherfuckers just want some kind of weird excuse to be like nutting on shit. And then James got a rebuttal with, yeah, it's really draining, right?
Also, he can't come normal anymore, so he won't have sex with his wife, and their marriage is falling apart because he's like, no, I'm just not in the mood.
And that's where all the suspicion is. We think it's about a closeted homosexual the whole time.
He just doesn't
But
want to shoot a tornado inside her.
it's the tornado nuts.
He loves her too much to have her ripped apart from the inside by a tornado.
So the tornado comes out of his dick, or
Yeah,
does it telekinetically pull a tornado out of his
no,
skin?
just right out of his dick.
Oh,
So
okay.
it starts as like a gentle wind, and then
It's-
Yeah, it's like, you know, early on in the novel, he wakes up to a blowjob. He's like, oh man, and he can. It's like the room, like the windows start to rattle a little bit. And he's like, no, stop! He like
Oh,
smacks her off
geez,
of it.
that was a close one.
Yeah, it's like
yeah, yeah.
he,
So
he's
she's
he like smacks her to like get her off, get her off him, and she of course responds very negatively to that. He's like,
Mhm.
"No, baby, I love you," and she's
He's
like, "What
got
the fuck?"
he's got to catch her like cheating somewhere on his like day out too. Like catches like sees her car somewhere and is like, "Wait, what?" And then yeah, catches her with some other dude.
And
So,
so the way that you find out that he's been shooting tornadoes out of his dick is he rapes that dude.
oh.
That's the end of the book. He rapes that dude, and the tornado just like he's like, "You're cheating, you're fucking my wife. I'm gonna fuck you." And
That was something I heard in that Call of Duty video too. Was this dude like, I'm gonna fuck you in the ass? And then everybody else in the lobby is like, wait, what?
uh,
What the
this is how you do extreme horror. You make it very silly.
Right. No, no, no. I was, well, yo, as you said that, I was like, yo, this is like mild compared to like the shit that they be writing, yo. It was mild.
Yeah, and even when he pees, it's like there's a lot of wind in there. It's all
Man,
messed up. He regrets. It's kind of it's like the Midas touch. It's like his gift was also a curse. He's like, man, we're finally gonna be rich because I can come out a tornado and like blast all these fences down. They'll need to hire me to do it. So we're gonna be rich finally. But then the rest of his life is falling apart because can't fuck his wife. Can only just jack off on fences.
and that's why his wife thinks he's gay, but
Yeah.
it's not actually, he just doesn't want to kill her.
Yeah. Well, we all thought he was gay too. That's like part of it is everyone just thinks he's gay.
But he's not, he has just other things going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
I
trying to
got
save your life.
you. Yeah.
Who among us? Man,
We've all been there.
this is our boy's most relatable book, I think, low key.
Yeah. Just the tornado fucker.
The tornado fuck. Oh yeah.
Basically.
So what's the title of it?
Ben's fucking tornadoes. No, you just called Hatchet.
Blow.
What blowjob?
No, no, blowback.
Blowback.
Blowback. Ooh. Oh yeah, because everything like it's
That's a
all
good one.
blowing. Yeah, that's actually really
Blowback.
good. Yeah.
But he
And then
blowing loads, but it's blowing back and it's fucking everything up and like blow back like with a pistol, the
yeah.
blowback.
Uh-huh.
And then the
Uh-huh.
cover is
When
just
you
it's just
A
JDO's
big
face.
feet.
That's
Like wait, nah, you go first.
I was
Yeah.
just saying, it's just David's face, like the O face, like he's coming, but the wind is blowing his hair. That's the cover.
You see, I was thinking like, you know how like you could it would be a picture of JDO, aka James, face, just like straight on. Not like a mugshot, but with that positioning, right? But reflected in like a cracked mirror covered in cum. Like that's what
Oh man, that took me so by surprise. I didn't know what you were gonna say, but there were so many different outcome like endings to that sentence that I thought you were gonna say instead. Oh man, that was good.
what do you think would happen if like we had our Broken River books table at like Ghoulish or like the Minnesota joint?
Yeah,
Like and like one of the books had that cover.
the eye catcher.
Yeah, it draw more people to the table.
Lane, do you think it would sell? Do you think people would stay away from the table? What would happen like with that? A
I
picture JDO in the mirror looking very stern, covered in cum.
I think books like that, or like book covers like that, people prefer to have the ebook
I agree.
because they don't have to like have, you know, someone like pulls out, it's like, oh, what's this? And they're just like, is this just like a dude covered in cum? It's like, no, it's the window that he's looking at that's covered in cum. Like,
That's like y'all read any of Jeff Jackson's joints?
uh-uh.
No, who that?
Jeff
He's just covered in
Jackson
cum.
is the Jeff Jackson's one of the goats. Miracle Poor is one of my favorite books of all time. But his whoever that artist is who did Miracle Poor and Novi Sad, he's got this kind of like what you're talking about, like that collage where it's like fractured, and then there's the other type of like sort of that like Kevin Gates I'm Him album cover kind of thing, or uh like Maxo Cream's Mr. Banks
Mm.
album, like um but some of them, not on any of Jeff Jackson's covers, but like some of this dude's other art has like very like it'll be a boy, like a child shirtless, and then like a house underwater, and then coming through like the belly button is like a finger, and it looks kind of wet, and you're like, this is really I like eye catching, and like, but I don't want to like own this on my shelf.
Right, right. I do get what you're saying. I do. There are some books, extreme horror books, that have covers that I wouldn't want people to see me with ever. Not even because what the writing is in it, or because of the pics the authors be sending to each other, but just how the cover looks. You feel me? I don't want people thinking I'm a psychopath.
Yeah, you almost gotta like if you're reading it on the train, you gotta hide it between the pages of like the Bible or something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think we're sending our boy off respectfully with a real a solid banger that anybody would have thought he wrote himself.
Blowback.
Blowback by J. David Osborne, dropping on Broken River this winter.
Now you gotta write it. Gotta
Yeah,
remember.
yeah, Grant. Now you gotta write that shit.
Yeah, Grant. Come on, Grant,
Grant,
please.
you idiot.
Come on, Grant. You gotta put it out. You the best of us. Make this happen. And hit up Aaron Beauregard's get that cover with the cum.
Cum cover.
Yeah. He'll know where to find that amount of cum. The cover, he will.
Oh, he will.
He will. He
He knows
will.
all about it.
He does.
Well, all the day ones listening gonna be well acquainted with you boys, but everybody else, where can what y'all want to plug, throw out there?
You first.
Me first. Yo, I got these books about Baltimore called Ghost of Baltimore and Ghosts of West Baltimore. Them joints are wherever you know you can buy books and shit. They're pretty cool if you like books. And yeah, I got a new joint little collection that just came out called Foul Black Rookeries. My name is David Simmons. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all that shit. I'm out there. And I appreciate being on Agitated. You know, it's my favorite podcast to come on.
Yeah, I only listen to
Hell
like
yeah.
3 podcasts, and this is one of them. If you do a podcast and you're like, oh man, why don't you listen to mine? I guarantee I don't, because I just don't listen to podcasts, and I don't know, you're just not as cool. Sorry.
Right.
Um,
You know you got a good thing when the homies listen to you, because I know a lot of shows. Well, I have a lot of homies who have podcasts and stuff, and I'm like, that's cute, that's cool, bro. I like that you do that, but if I mean, I don't really want to listen to that shit. So it
it's too many.
actually means more when the homies listen. I'm
Yeah,
like,
too many
oh, man.
podcasts. I used to listen to podcasts a long time ago, And then I was like, oh man, I could just, instead of listening to like these random people talk, I could just I could just listen to a book. And so I started doing that, and I just I stopped listening to podcasts because I don't know. Most podcasts are, I don't know. It's like, I don't know. 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 I don't want to talk to you.
This will lead into your plug, because we got something coming up related to this. But
Yeah.
I was listening to Idoru.
Did
I've been going through it
you get
by
to the Love Hotel part?
via audiobook. Yeah. I've
Those
been
are real. I've Love Hotels are real. Yeah.
I know that because of Love and Pop,
Mm.
the Hideaki, god damn it, Evangelion dude.
Hideaki Anno.
Yeah, yeah. I was forgetting the last letter of his name. Um,
Something Japanese.
I almost hard art him. Hideaki Anno.
Yeah, but that one will be out next week. That podcast. So if you, well, I can just tell you who I am. My name's Eddie Rathke. You can find me on the World Wide
Just
Web.
Google Eddie, you'll find him.
Yeah, just Google Eddie. But my name is spelled like the verb. So there's no IE. The verb.
Yeah,
Eddie.
he's the like the Eddie and Ed and Eddie
Yeah,
style.
Rivers Eddie. That's my name. Um but you can find me at radicaledward.substack.com. I write a bunch of stuff about a lot of stuff. And I have
Yeah,
books too. Wrote a bunch of those too.
you're actually the only good essay writer, which
I
I mean,
agree.
maybe not true, but the only one I care to. I get all these Substack emails now. I thought Substack was really gonna pop off, and
Yeah.
then
Well, I think the problem that Substack made was making a social media part of the platform because that's so
that killed it.
obnoxious. It makes it it's just it makes it really annoying. I don't know. It's kind of like the same thing that we were talking about. It's like now I see what these writers talk about. Like they all have posting problems. They can't shut up. It's like just write your essay. I came here for your essay. I don't care
I
about
don't know
your
how they
like
have time to write all this shit.
yeah. Well, it's because they're online all day. They're on their computer all day. They don't do other stuff. They don't have kids. Find me a Substack writer who has a kid. Like just find one. Like
To be
It's
honest,
just you.
yeah, basically. Like
to be honest with y'all, man, like when you write a subset essay, Kelby, when you write them joints every week, Eddie, when Grant write them joints every week, when JDO write one every so often, I read them joints and I like them a lot. Some of them I really like the hot sauce joint where you wrote about your baby
yeah.
and writing Mercy, remember?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I be blown with y'all. I be like, yo, why are you fucking putting this shit out for free? Because I get these like emails all the time about like nonfiction and creative nonfiction essays that be paying good money per word, but I don't really know how to write them joints like y'all do, or I can't do it as much. So like, I don't know. When y'all put that shit out, I just be like, damn, y'all be putting out gold for free. I'm trying to get that bag. Y'all
Yeah,
should be
but
gold.
most of those nonfiction places, the kind of stuff they want is I don't know. That it's not mostly not what I write. I feel like uh
Oh yeah, I've been pitching to some because I just didn't know who all like I don't really know places because I don't
yeah.
read a lot. But they they always be like, nah, that sounds really cool, but no. I'm like,
Oh, okay. Already pitched. Okay, all right, all right.
I mean,
Man,
not a lot. Yeah,
it
I'd
should
be
be everything. That shit should be everywhere.
because I just don't see the ROI. Like if I pitch to, I know the people who are always in the game, they be pitching to like hundreds and hundreds of places.
Yeah.
Which if that's, I mean, that's the way to do it. You do what you do, but the ROI on that, I'm like, okay, I can either build an audience by giving out the gold and
Mm,
hoping some of these people go to my book or click one of the links I throw up in that bitch, or I can just have all these things pitching around to hundreds of places and eventually make $300.
mm,
Right.
right. I get it. I get what she's saying. That makes sense.
Yeah. But you should read mine and then you should become a paying subscriber. Just
Yeah,
give me
you
money. Give me money.
subscribe to Eddie's joint. Yes, what you should do.
That's what you should do.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Some of these things I need to start turning into books because I've done like series on stuff like the Harry Potter one. I need to put that together into a book. The
You
Wong
should
Kar
just
Wai.
you should just call it Harry Potter.
Yo,
Ooh, use the original cover.
Yeah.
You
Dream
just
Horror,
cross out the J.K. Rowling and write my name.
just spell it slightly different.
Yeah. Like Hairy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to start collecting some of these things into books, and I feel like those would do all right. Just, sell them as little books. A lot of people at book conventions were looking for nonfiction stuff, and I feel like if I just did that, might be an idea.
That's what I was saying. Like, and maybe, and no, that's what I'm thinking. Like, rather than maybe selling them as essays,
Mm.
like a collection of your essays to sell in its entirety. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
The ones that connect and have,
yeah, exactly. Especially because some of them are really long. Like
mhm.
I have one that's 15,000 words. That by itself is like it's like a book. Like it's as long as Mercy, basically.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, it is.
yeah. I just put that out as a book by itself. I'm working on another one that's well, and like man, the Golden Age is so I just finished the Golden Age, Berserk Golden Age, and it's like how are you supposed to write about that in like 1,500 words, 2,000 words?
Nah, you can't. See, I'm writing about Berserk too, and that's gonna be my longest joint.
Yeah,
Like
I
I'm
I
just
think it's just the Golden Age is by itself going to be like a novella length, so that's coming eventually. I'm working on a few that are too long, but that's life.
that's life.
All right.